Hi guys, welcome to Tanked Up Little One Shot. I'm Ben. I'm joined by Alex.
Right.
Hey, we're going to look at Hektor. We've chatted a lot about it on the podcast, and now you get to actually see it if you've not experienced it before.
Cool. So, to press play, this is the end of the intro, just before you take control of the character.
Yep.
Where you've been on some operating table of some horrible, evil surgeon guy who's done something to you, and then somebody just slides a Zippo out of the darkness.
Massively ominous.
Yeah.
Amazingly scary, dark start. We have no idea what's going on.
It calls for a beer.
It does. Definitely calls for a beer.
There's some pretty weird noises going on as well, I'm pretty sure.
What are we drinking?
We're drinking a Snake Dog IPA, which I don't know anything about it, or what this is going to be like. There's some spooky thing at the end of the corridor.
So, Hektor's all about this. Hektor's all about atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
Like dark passages.
Some freaky vision things and freaky noises.
So you chatted about it before, and the idea of taking medication and having to, I suppose, regulate. Thank you, sir. Regulate what you're taking, because it seems that you have some effects which may only happen when you haven't taken the drugs. You have sort of voices in the background, noises that may only be happening.
Yeah, I'm not 100% convinced that the pills do anything. Actually, that it's certainly a good idea that if they did, like, it would be a good game mechanic, I guess, an interesting one anyway. But they certainly don't. It doesn't bring the symptoms down immediately by any means if you take a pill.
But I suppose that's the same as if you do take medicine, isn't it? It doesn't alleviate your symptoms.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, I guess. So there's a lot of this kind of just walking into the darkness, not knowing what the hell is coming up around the next corner. And I think this particular bit is a loop where you have to do something, or else you just keep getting this corner on the left. Although, no, not so on this one.
You can see sort of from the gameplay the cautious nature of sidling around corners or strafing around corners and making sure that medicine is being taken at regular intervals just in case something happens. And it is just full of atmosphere. You can hear drips in the background from pipes. You can hear your own footsteps. There's a few small environmental sounds, but you get these sort of whispers, and sometimes the young girl talking about the fire and starting the fire and stuff,
and begging for stuff not to happen to her, like. And occasionally, just like there's some man's voice who just like it's really freaky.
Yeah, I don't think we experience any of that during the game that we're showing you, but it does convey a massive amount of just atmosphere, and it almost seems that that's not the gimmick, but the one sort of thing it's got going for it. It is, you are just exploring environments and certain things that happen, whether you trigger sort of, the monster coming, or as we've been talked about before, you move a certain path in a certain room, and that might trigger when a beast appears or something like that. So everything is built just on this suspense that you do not know when something is going to happen, and the fact that you can't see.
Yeah, that's the most debilitating aspect of the gameplay, is the fact that you just, like I said, you're just walking into the darkness, not knowing what the hell's going to be in there. And it's like one of those games like Alien or that Silent Hills PT, where there really isn't very much to interact with at all. Like in some games where you can destroy everything or whatever, like everything's interactable. This almost nothing is interactable at all.
Yeah, and I think this moment you just sort of see, you get to the end of a corridor and it's a dead end, and you just get a poster and a couple of electric boxes, and you turn around, walk down the corridor, and then face exactly the same thing. You haven't done a 360. You very specifically just turned around to go back down the corridor, and you're met by the same corridor. So the same end point in the corridor for then everything to change. And it's quite clever that it does this on the fly, that it does just change things up as you move around. You have you don't seem like you have any control over exactly what's happening or what you're able to sort of to do, really, apart from just wander with this light and try and remain stable with the drugs that you have.
Yeah, I think the fact that the layout changes makes it seem like you're sort of losing the capacity to. It's like it's not rational that would happen. It's like a dream or something, and it makes you feel like you're going mad because stuff that's not plausible or whatever is happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Because see, one of the downsides of the game is the way that the doors open there. Like, and you just opened a door, right? Although a hand icon appears over something that you can interact with, like you can see the hands. You can be holding the flashlight with one hand and the lighter with the other, and neither of those hands are opening the door.
Yeah.
How difficult would it have been to make the graphics so that he reaches out and opens the door?
Yeah, it does take you out of it very slightly.
Yeah. And it's weird that they open on their own. That is kind of freaky in its own way, but
you sort of that does take you out of it a little bit. You're definitely plunged straight back into it as soon as you enter the next corridor, and it's just pitch black again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can sort of, I can understand because a lot of other things sort of very specifically have the lighter in hand. You can see that, and you know that is what exists as such. So for something to not actually happen is very strange, but it's just when stuff like this happens as well. Everything shakes, things fall from the ceiling. You don't know whether you're going the right way, whether what you're doing when you go into a room is going to suddenly trigger something which just munches your head off. And I found there's a lot of backtracking as well with this. So even though you know where you've just come from, there isn't anything, you still have the same suspense. You still have that same sense of
because nothing's necessarily the same, even though you've been down it already.
And I think with them, when you with the earlier part where the dead end, where the corridor appears again, you've just got no idea what's going to happen. So you can enter a room and come out and be in somewhere completely different, and you just lose your bearings very quickly.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like randomly generated map though. It is a specific map. Because I thought for a while that it was just randomly generated sequences of doors or something. But having bought the full game and had to play the first level again, I was kind of like, all right, well, I'll just run through it because I know what's going to happen here and stuff. And like I just remembered my way around it, and it isn't randomly generated.
Yeah.
So there are just some 2 or 3 bits in the first level where the scenery changes behind you without you noticing.
And I've not played sort of any more than the demo would allow me to. But does it seem to open up a little bit more in the game, or is it more of this? Is it more of the same?
It sort of ratcheted up certain things, like without spoiling it in any way. In the second level, you wake up in a room that's locked, and you have to find your way out. And it was different to the way of getting out of it. Was I'm not going to go into it because it would actually spoil it. But you weren't locked in a room in the same way on the first level, and there's more experiences of ghosts on the second level. So like more jump out kind of ghouls or whatever than the first one. There was only a couple of times in the first, I think 3 times in the first level where you actually see a ghost.
Yeah, where something actually comes out at you. Do you think it's tied to the drugs still?
No idea. I guess we'll probably find out as the game goes on. I hate walking down this corridor as well. Like you see that in the distance. They do that really well. The kind of blurring of the
light effect,
sheen of the light. Yeah. So you have to go in this a couple of times and cue the blur. There we go. Lovely jubbly.
And I know this is almost the goal of the first level, isn't it, to get through that door?
Well, there's a couple of different doors like that, but they're all taking you through to cell block A or something. You have to get to cell block A. Okay. That's where the girl's been taken off to.
Yeah, so I just assumed that it was almost the same door, that the way that the levels were shifting,
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that it was just generating that door every time and it's the same door.
Well, it might be, yeah. So what I mean is you don't have to retrace your steps all the way back to this one because you come across it several times. Yeah, you can get there again.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we were saying, or you were saying previously, you read a review that was stating that it was boring and they'd done it really quickly and stuff. I can sort of see there's a little bit of that where you are repetitively trudging through corridors, not knowing what's coming. I mean, it is all about that suspense and it is all about the atmosphere. But I could see if you just constantly had to do that and maybe it didn't push you through and you weren't actually getting anywhere, that it could be quite frustrating.
Yeah. That's right. It's not got much, because there's so little interactive kind of potential, you have to be up for just standing and walking through corridors and you really have to be getting into the whole thrilling element of it. Once it's not scary anymore, it's not that great. It's boring.
Yeah. And I suppose you get a little bit of that when you do encounter the creatures, or the things. Creatures is probably the incorrect word, but yeah, it does take you out of it a little bit once you've seen what it is that is hunting you almost.
Though not to the extent of Alien, where after a while it's just like, oh, okay, that looks shit. So.
Yeah, and I think with Alien it just became a bit of almost a timed mechanic, really. It's just making you rush through an area, making you get to that door that you need to get through, otherwise the alien is going to find you, or get through it and get through the area by creating noise over in some other space to be able to get past it. Whereas this doesn't seem to have that. You don't have that interactive nature. You're not able to craft and create items to be able to assist you almost as you move through. It is just moving through these spaces. It is, as I said before, it is just about the atmosphere.
Well,
or so it appears.
12 minutes already? That's probably long enough.
That is probably long enough. So, this has been Hektor. You should probably play it as a free demo. Everything you've seen here is from the free demo.
It's
and you get a good, decent amount of gameplay out of it, especially if you turn the lights off.
Yeah.
There's nothing else going on. Or, as happened as I was playing, you had a very scared girlfriend in the background going, "What's happening? Don't open that door. What's going on? What's going on?" So, these beers.
It's alright.
Yeah, it's good.
Kind of coppery. Not hugely hoppy, but...
No, not massive. It's nice.
It's nice, yeah.
So, that's Hektor. We've been tanked up.
Cool.
Take it easy.